Yo, Losdy Punch Out TV. How you all doing on this gorgeous afternoon, Thursday afternoon? Want to talk about. I've just been listening to Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver on Talk Boxing, which was filmed yesterday. They were talking about the landscape of the heavyweight division and like how it's not moving and stuff like that. But there was a certain part of it, what they were talking about, what caught my attention, and it was they were saying that before this four-man tournament, if it does go ahead, which I don't think it will, they were saying that obviously Oleksandr Usyk will be fighting Daniel Dubois. They were talking about July, they were saying, because he's got to face his mandatories. But they were saying like he could take step aside money and let Tyson Fury fight him or whatever in this tournament, or if this tournament goes ahead. But they were saying more than likely that he'll be fighting Daniel Dubois in July. And I was listening to what Spencer was saying, and I did agree with him quite a lot what he was saying, because I don't see Daniel Dubois beating Oleksandr Usyk at all. Not in a million years. This isn't a dig at Daniel Dubois. I like Daniel Dubois. I'm just talking about how I see it, is how Spencer was saying. He's, for me, Daniel Dubois is still a very young kid. He's one of the youngest heavyweights. He's only 24 years old. He's still learning on the job. And I just think, me personally, I just think Usyk would just be way too much for him. He'd be cannon fodder. That's how I would see it. I see Usyk just hitting him from the angles, different angles. He wouldn't know how to cope with it, because he's very one way, straightforward. Daniel Dubois, just come forward. Don't get me wrong, he's a big puncher. He's always got the puncher's chance of knocking out Oleksandr Usyk, but Usyk is just too fundamentally better boxer. He's got better IQ, better footwork, better body movement, better ring IQ. He's just more seasoned fighter, and for me, I think that Oleksandr Usyk is the most complete heavyweight out there. I think he'd stop. I honestly believe that he'd stop Daniel Dubois. I think he would stop him late on. They were questioning about his heart, because a lot of people are saying he hasn't got the heart. I think he's got heart, Daniel Dubois. Even though he did take a knee during the Joe Joyce fight, for me, I never criticised him. A lot of people did, but I never did, because he getting thumped in that eye for 10 rounds constantly. He had no answer for that jab. But he lives to fight another day, and as he's come back, he's captured a world title, the WBA regular belt, but he can still manoeuvre himself to be a world champion, and I think he will. But at one day, I just think at this moment in time, well, he's just not gonna get to be a world champion, because I don't see him beating Anthony Joshua, even though I think it'd be a good fight. I don't see him beating Deontay Wilder. I think Wilder would more than likely knock him out. I don't see him beating Tyson Fury. Fury would probably stop him. It'd just be too much for him. And I definitely don't see him beating Oleksandr Usyk. But they were saying, like, a lot of these heavyweights, like Usyk, Wilder, Fury, Anthony Joshua, they're all in the 30s, somewhere in coming towards the late 30s. So even if he didn't fight Usyk and took step aside money, he's got plenty of time, I think, to manoeuvre his way around, and then by then some of these heavyweights would have gone. You know, they probably aged out, or they've taken a few losses and called it time, or they've got to rebuild themselves again. But if I was Daniel Dubois, me personally, I wouldn't take that fight. I don't know, I probably would take step aside money, because I just do not see him beating Oleksandr Usyk. He couldn't deal with Joe Joyce, and Joe's pretty slow, really. Don't get me wrong, I like Joe Joyce, think he's a good boxer, but I just don't see him beating any. I don't even see him beating Zhilei Zhang. I just don't see. He's just too stiff. He's too bulky and stiff, but I do think he can come again. But is he going to take that opportunity to fight Usyk? More than likely. He has tweeted a few times that he's going to do it. He's going to take the fight. So it was just an interesting debate what him and Simon Jordan were having. It's on Talk Boxing on Talk Sports. But I agree with Spencer. I don't see him beating Usyk. I think Usyk could torture him, to be honest. I just think he'll jab him, hit him from angles. For me, he just won't see it coming. And he possibly could stop him late on. But like I say, this isn't a dig at Daniel Dubois. I wish nothing but the best for him. I like the kid. I just don't think he's experienced enough to handle any of the top 5 elite fighters or the top 6. That's just my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on it. But for me, just to wrap it up, I don't ever see Daniel Dubois, unless heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen in heavyweight boxing, but I could almost put my life on it that he wouldn't beat Oleksandr Usyk. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Peace out, and I'll catch you on the next one.